Well, hello there, my friends, and welcome to Carpos Corner, Episode 1. Episode 01. I've made a lot of videos with various topics in mind and various ideas in mind. Sometimes it's 15-minute free thinking, but I haven't used the Carpos Corner one in a while. And I realized that I am in a corner here, so I thought it would be the perfect one. I wanted to start doing a daily or semi-daily kind of journal of my thoughts, because I'm having a hard time coming up with what I really feel like talking about on YouTube, and it's not for lack of content or lack of subjects. It's for a disdain for the sensitivity people have about certain topics, not being able to talk about the very controversial topics like I once did without feeling like people just want to argue about shit. Argument not in the sense of solving anything and coming to a conclusion so both people benefit, the Aristotle version or the Aristotelian argument, but just an argument for you're wrong, I'm right, that kind of thing, which, we're all privy to that knowledge. It's we've all seen how horrible things have gotten recently over the past several years. But I don't want to talk about negativity. I don't want to get into the problems of the world. I want to start a series where I'm talking about the positivity, the things that make me happy. And I think that that's something that all of us can kind of get behind. Because, there's enough bullshit out there to fill several buckets. And every time one's full, it just overflows onto your feet. And it's not worth immersing ourselves in the garbage that we see out there. So, because I don't have any notes in front of me, like I do with, say, my podcast or most of my videos that I do, I have at least a list of notes that I have taken over the past day or two or three, because I want to be able to cover topics without forgetting things. But in this one, I wanted to just kind of go freestyle. I've been working, so that's changed my working away from home, so that's changed the way I do videos. And as most of you know, I've been doing tiny homes. And I wanted to make this clear too. My subscribers, I love you all, man. I know you all have been my subscribers for a while now. Very few, if any, of the people watching this video are new subscribers. I don't make any real effort to grow my channel or to try to get new subscribers. I've never advertised it. I don't, YouTube doesn't promote it. I don't really put ads on it, even though I can. And because of that, I feel very content sharing the things I can share with the people, my subscribers. I don't feel like I have to impress anybody. I don't feel like I have to cater to anybody's beliefs or whims. That you all either accept me for who I am or you don't. And that's fine. I have no problem with people who don't like me. There were times in the past where I've always tried to understand why people don't like me, because I've had some real haters on YouTube, but most of the topics I've covered, I've realized that they're pretty moderate. The ones that I do talk about that are controversial are the ones who attract people who, think that I'm going to burn in hell for eternity because I talked about Jesus or something to that effect. But that's mild compared to some of the shit I've heard from people. And over all the years of doing YouTube, all the negative comments, all the negative discussions I've had, I'm done, I'm done with that arguing, that kind of debating where people just want to harass, insult, debase, demean each other and make people feel like shit for whatever they think. It's sad. And it's kind of an insecurity that people have about themselves and, their own beliefs or the world they live in. So sticking to the positive, as I was going to say, I wanted to talk about synchronicity before I forget. This is something that, as many of you know, and many of you don't, I'm sure, Carl Jung, I believe he was the one who really coined the term, or at least made it a thing, if you will. Synchronicity was basically a coincidence that had deeper meaning. And it's very difficult to explain that. You'd have to go into the philosophy of It, to understand it, you'd have to actually read, the stories of the people who had these coincidences and how Carl Jung was affected by them. But there was I've had so many deja vus and strange synchronicities in the past that at one time I thought, maybe I'm on the right path. Maybe what I'm doing is working. But for a period of time, they kind of went away. And then they've been returning lately, the deja vus, strange experiences. And I thought, maybe a lot of the times that we don't have these experiences, it's because we're not on our proper path. And that's not, I would say that's, I'm not going to try to get too deep here. That's not it's a causation, not a correlate. It's a correlation, not a causation. In other words, there's something going on in the human mind to where when we have certain experiences, it's because we are in a certain state of mind that is working for us. And I don't know how else to explain it. Dreams. Let's just talk about dreams for a minute. Crazy shit, man. I mean, most of the people I've talked to in my life have had at least one significant dream. My wife, she never remembers her dreams. I mean, she's always like, I don't dream. I don't remember them. The one time that she did remember her dreams was when she woke up really early on the morning of September 11th, 2001, and had this crazy dream about her nephew being like trapped in a building or something. I'd have to ask her the specifics. I don't recall, but it was wild. And then she turned on the news after she kind of calmed down from the dream and saw what had happened on 9/11. And it's not just that experience. I had a friend named Alex. It was a female, and she was a friend of mine when I was a teenager. And one night she woke up just freaking out at like 3 a.m. and called her grandma right away and found out that her grandma had died just then. Like, if you even have one connection like that, one experience, it can totally change your life. It can change your perspective on how humans connect with one another. I'm not a physics major, but quantum entanglement is a term given to atoms that are entwined at any distance, right? What Einstein called spooky action at a distance. And it's no matter, when you affect the spin of one atom, it affects the spin of the other. And my thought is that this concept, at least this idea, and maybe the atoms themselves, play a role in why when humans connect on a certain level, that connection can leave strings. There's almost a theory in a lot of, I've heard this before, I don't recall where, that when two humans connect and they make a connection and they bond, whether it's a hug, whatever it might be, there's like this acknowledgement between the people. There's a bond made, perhaps a synchronicity, a connection. Something occurs to where the people are bonded. And anyway, synchronicity wasn't the right term right there. I was thinking ahead. And synchronicities are like these experiences that we have where something happens that is so unlikely multiple times in a day. Seeing a cat, a certain type of cat, and then perhaps visiting a place that I guess I'm going to stumble because I don't have any stories ready. There are so many crazy stories, but I've had my own, and let's just say that dreams themselves, especially the apocalyptic dreams, because I've had a lot of those. And there was a time when I was obsessed with lucid dreaming, and I loved it. It was one of the fucking coolest things I've ever done. Like, actually being able to fly. And like, through my dream process, I learned how to fly farther and farther. And this was years ago. And a person might ask, well, why'd you quit? I quit because it's actually work. You have to like read books about lucid dreaming. You have to go to bed intending to lucid dream. But there was one major point that I've never heard anybody say before that was one of my main reasons for doing it. I think that when you dream, you can learn a lot from what you're dreaming about, letting your subconscious do its work. I feel like when you lucid dream, you're jumping in as the conscious you and affecting your dreams, therefore not allowing your dreams to unfold in their natural state. And for a lot of people, they probably don't care. But for me, I thought this might be better to just let my mind do what it needs to do when I sleep, and I just stop doing it. But I have dream journals. I have hundreds of recordings. I'd wake up every morning with a little voice recorder before I even opened my eyes. I'd remember my dreams. I'd record them on the recorder. Then I'd get up and go about my day. And the reason I bring that up is because there's not a lot to learn. I've listened through them, and it's like a lot of people believe that you can learn about the future from your dreams and understand messages from these crazy coincidences and synchronicities. I don't think that anybody can translate what these things mean. I think this is way above our pay grade, so to speak. But I do believe that people can start to associate experiences with certain times in their lives and realize that maybe when you have more synchronicities, life is going better. Or maybe not, depending on the person. It might sound like a lot of woo-woo to some, and to some it just sounds like, normal, everyday, thinking. I mean, there are people out there who do believe in the power of crystals, and, I have a whole mixed bag of feelings about all these things, synchronicities and deja vu. I did research on deja vu because I was having a lot at one time, okay? Couldn't find any real info about it, except for a few, science journal-like entries. They were experiments that were done. But the reason I found what I was looking for was because my experience of having deja vu was after I had been taking Mucuna pruriens, which is a bean from South America, and it contains a lot of different compounds, serotonin for one, but also L-Dopa. And L-Dopa is a precursor to dopamine. So when you take L-Dopa, it gives your body a building block to create dopamine. And when you take it, it's very interesting feeling. It really does have an effect. But what I noticed was I was having a lot of deja vus, and I did stop taking it eventually. It just seemed like too much. Maybe I was taking too much. It was really strong, but I was having the craziest deja vus all the time. So I did some research, deja vu dopamine, and I looked everywhere I could find. And I found a couple of recent studies done, within the last, 10 years or so, 5 years, I think, on dopamine deficiency and L-Dopa in Parkinson's patients, and how it had created an experience. There was this little subtext about deja vu and how a lot of people had reported having a lot of deja vu. And therefore, I saw another article about there was a theory that dopamine may play a role in that. But dopamine is your motivation chemical, but it also tells you what to fear. It's not just a lot of people think dopamine just makes you feel good. No, it's not at all. It's a serotonin kind of does, but dopamine makes you more motivated or cautious about things, if you will. But a flood of it apparently can cause some sort of a deja vu, and that's strange. I don't know what to make of that. But if that's true, then that means that there's nothing really mystical about deja vu itself. It's just we haven't learned how dopamine affects it yet. So I would wonder about synchronicities and experiences that we have. Is it just that we're picking up on one little thing that's happening? You could easily write it off as just chance, but I can't. Because sometimes things happen that are so unlikely that they've got to be 1 in trillions. And they happen often. And it's very strange. It's almost like the universe speaks to us through events that happen. And a lot of folks would say, well, yeah, of course it does. You've got to listen to the universe. Well, that's kind of like, if you don't understand the language, then you've really got to start to understand and pick it apart. And I'm a reasonable person, For some, they don't believe that the universe is conscious or that there's any underlying language. To me, it's amazing that people believe that humans were just by chance evolved in a vacuum of space and the small rock for no particular reason with without any other life anywhere else, or this the absurdity of the size of the universe down to the size of us and then the size of these particles in our body, and just how fucking insane it is that we even exist. To me, it's just mind-blowing. I can't get over it. I can't get over the size of everything and the intensity of everything. The fact that all of these different atoms coalesced into these, uh, the particles making up these atoms, which decided to come together for some reason to make, molecules. I don't know why all these atoms came together to make these molecules, but they did. And then the molecules came together to make proteins. These proteins came together. Eventually, we had RNA, DNA. We have these bodies that are growing with various organs, all working in perfect harmony, perfect unison. Your heart beating, feeding all of the different organs, all the way down to your extremities and your fingertips and your toes. And you're bipedal, you're able to run around. You have a brain that's able to reason, ears that can hear just in the right frequencies. The fact that we can enjoy music, that we can smell amazing smells like coffee and cannabis. And, I'm grateful to be alive. And I hope you are too. Because it's fucking crazy. And the alternative is to not be alive. And the thing is, you'll get both. If you're watching this, you get the beauty of both. You get to see what happens, if nothing else, and hopefully we can make the best of our own lives. And that's all I want to be able to do with people. When I talk to folks, it's like, try to be a positive influence. And I can be negative. And then, like I was talking to my friend this weekend when we were down in Bend at the concert, we were back at the motel chatting, and I was talking about all the doom and gloom about humanity, and I said, but I hold out hope. I think humanity still has a hope, and I think we can do it. I think we can pull ourselves out. It might just take some work. And he goes, thank you. He's like, thank you for being positive. Like, that was the way he said it was like, because I know where he's coming from. Like, so many people are just fucking nihilists about everything. Everybody else sucks. Everything else sucks. And I honestly don't feel that way. I really don't. I'm frustrated with certain aspects of life, with like other people, but not my own life. Usually things that are happening around me. Anything in my own life I can usually deal with and, make something happen to fix that, but not always. And sometimes we get wrapped up in a lot of bullshit. We've got to remain positive because it's the best way to stay healthy. And that's my ramble for today. Thanks for coming to Carpos Corner. And any final notes? No. I had a couple questions. Somebody asked me about my address. Yeah, you can email me for that at carpo420@gmail.com. And I actually, somebody wanted to send something, but there was another question. What did somebody say? I don't remember what it was. I guess it doesn't matter. I'll remember later. But I do try to answer. Somebody said something about you should have an email for, answering customers or subscribers' questions or like video ideas. And actually on my Patreon page, I do. If you send me a message through Patreon, I've done videos in the past on request from people. But also for those who, don't subscribe, that's fine too. You can send me an email at the Carpo420. And I'll try to respond when I can. I'm really bad about answering that kind of stuff. I don't really like being part of the modern society with all the bullshit we got to deal with, but I've got to be part of it just like the rest of you, so I'm going to do my best. And, yeah, thanks for coming along, and I appreciate you all. I know that you're all my regular subscribers, and if you've made it through almost 20 minutes of my rambling, I don't know. I feel like I owe you all something. It's like, because the people who respond are doing as much for me as I feel they say I'm doing for them. So, be well. Take care of each other. And I'll talk to y'all next time. Peace out.